Emma Rodriguez felt the familiar wooden edge of her favorite table with her fingertips. The corner booth at Murphy's Café had become her second home over the past 6 months. She knew every scratch on the surface, every bump in the worn leather seat. The sounds around her painted a picture more vivid than any eyes could see. The coffee machine hissed behind the counter. Mrs. Murphy hummed an old tune while wiping down tables. The bell above the door chimed as customers came and went. Emma smiled as she recognized the footsteps of regular customers. There was Dr. Collins with his heavy boots, always ordering black coffee. Young Katie from the bookstore next door walked with quick, light steps and always asked for extra sugar. Today felt different, though. Someone new had entered the cafe about 20 minutes ago. Emma had heard the door chime, but the footsteps that followed were strange. They were too quiet, too careful. Most people made noise when they walked, but this person moved like they were floating. Emma's other senses had grown sharp over the years since losing her sight in a car accident. She could tell things about people that others might miss. The stranger had ordered coffee in a voice that made Emma pause. It was deep and calm, but there was something else in it. An accent she couldn't place, not British or European. Something more distant, more unusual. The man had said thank you to Mrs. Murphy in a way that sounded formal, like he was learning the words for the first time. Emma sipped her coffee and tried to focus on her textbook. She was studying for her graduate degree in ancient history. Her fingers moved across the pages of Braille text, but her mind kept drifting to the mysterious customer. He had been sitting at the table near the window for 20 minutes without moving. Most people shifted in their seats, tapped their feet, or made small sounds. This man sat perfectly still. She was reaching for her coffee cup when her elbow knocked against something hard. The sound of liquid spilling and a chair scraping back made her freeze. "Oh no, I'm so sorry," Emma said, standing quickly. Her face burned with embarrassment. "Did I spill something on you?" A warm hand touched her arm, gently. The touch was strange, warmer than normal human skin, but comforting. "It is fine," the voice said. The same formal tone, the same unusual accent. "No harm was done?" The coffee missed me completely. Emma felt around with her hands, trying to find something to clean up the mess. "I'm usually not this clumsy." Well, that's not true. I'm actually quite clumsy, but I try to be careful in public places. She heard a sound that might have been laughter, though it was quieter than most people's laughs. "Please sit down," the man said. "I will clean this up." "No, really, it's my fault. I should sit." The word came out with such authority that Emma found herself obeying without thinking. There was something in his voice that made her feel safe. Even though she didn't know him, she heard him moving around, probably getting napkins from the counter. Mrs. Murphy's voice called out, asking if everything was okay. The man assured her it was just a small spill, nothing to worry about. When he returned, Emma heard him settling back into his chair. The sound of paper napkins cleaning up liquid, then silence. "I'm Emma," she said, feeling like she needed to introduce herself after causing such a mess. "I am Alex," he replied. Emma waited for more, but Alex didn't seem to be the type for small talk. She found this refreshing. Most people either talked too much when they met her, or they became awkward and didn't know what to say about her blindness. "Do you come here often?" she asked, then immediately felt silly for using such a common line. "This is my first time." "In this establishment," Alex said. "I am new to this area." "Oh, where are you from? Your accent sounds interesting." There was a pause, a long pause. Emma wondered if she had something wrong. "I have traveled extensively," Alex said finally. "It is difficult to say where home is anymore," Emma nodded. She understood the feeling of being displaced, though probably not in the same way Alex meant. "Well, you picked a good place to start," she said. "Murphy's has the best coffee in the city. Mrs. Murphy has been running this place for 30 years. She knows everyone's order by heart." "And what is your order?" Alex asked. "Medium coffee with cream and 2 sugars. Same thing every day for 6 months. I'm a creature of habit." "Habits can be comforting," Alex said. And there was something in his voice that suggested he understood this deeply. Emma found herself relaxing. There was something about Alex that felt different from other people. He didn't seem nervous around her blindness. He didn't speak too loudly or use simple words like some people did. He treated her like a normal person, which was rarer than it should have been. "Are you visiting the city for business or pleasure?" she asked. Another pause. "Business," Alex said, "though I find myself curious about local customs." "Well, if you're looking for local customs, you've come to the right place. This cafe is like the heart of the neighborhood. Everyone comes through here eventually, including you," Alex observed. "Especially me. I'm here almost every day. It's my office away from home. I'm a graduate student, so I spend a lot of time reading and writing." "What do you study?" "Ancient history. Specifically, how different civilizations handled conflict and cooperation. It's fascinating how societies develop different approaches to solving problems." Emma heard Alex shift in his chair. She had the strange feeling that her words had affected him somehow. "That does sound fascinating," he said, and his voice had changed slightly. More thoughtful, more engaged, they sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Emma could hear the normal sounds of the cafe around them, but somehow Alex's presence made everything feel calmer. "I should probably get back to my reading," Emma said, though she found herself reluctant to end the conversation. "Of course," Alex said. "Perhaps. Would it be acceptable if I returned tomorrow? I found the coffee quite good." Emma smiled. "I'll be here at 2 o'clock, same as always. Maybe we can continue our conversation?" "I would like that," Alex said, and Emma could hear something in his voice that sounded almost like relief. As Emma gathered her things and prepared to leave. She had no idea that the man calling himself Alex was actually Zarthik the Destroyer, Supreme Commander of the Krillian Armada. She didn't know that his fleet of warships was hidden beyond Earth's moon, waiting for his orders to begin the conquest of humanity. She couldn't see the way his alien features were carefully disguised to appear human, or how his advanced technology allowed him to walk among humans undetected. All Emma knew was that she had met someone interesting, someone who seemed as lonely as she sometimes felt, someone who treated her with respect and kindness, someone she looked forward to seeing again. Alex remained in his seat long after Emma left, staring out the window at the humans walking past on the street. For the first time in decades of conquest, he found himself questioning what he was really doing on this planet. The simple kindness of a blind human woman had stirred something in him that he thought had died long ago. Tomorrow he would return to Murphy's Café, not as a conqueror, but as someone seeking something he couldn't quite name. 3 weeks had passed since Emma first met Alex. Every day at 2 o'clock, she would arrive at Murphy's Café to find him already waiting at the table next to her booth. He was always there first, sitting perfectly still like a statue until she arrived. Emma had started to look forward to these meetings more than she cared to admit. Today was no different. She heard the familiar sound of his chair scraping as he stood when she entered. Such a formal gesture, but it made her smile. Most people her age didn't have such old-fashioned manners. "Good afternoon, Emma," Alex said as she settled into her usual spot. "Hi, Alex, how was your morning?" she asked, placing her textbooks on the table. "Productive," he replied, which was his usual answer. Alex never gave details about his work, always speaking in general terms. Emma had learned not to push too hard for specifics. Mrs. Murphy brought Emma's regular coffee without being asked. She had started bringing Alex the same order since he seemed to enjoy it. Emma noticed that Mrs. Murphy was always extra polite to Alex, almost nervous around him. When Emma had asked about it, Mrs. Murphy said there was just something about him that made her feel like she was serving someone important. "Tell me about your studies today," Alex said. It was always his first question, and Emma loved how genuinely interested he seemed. "I'm reading about the Roman Empire," Emma said, her fingers tracing the Braille text. "Specifically about how they dealt with conquered peoples. It's interesting how they sometimes made allies instead of enemies." Alex was quiet for a long moment. Emma had noticed these pauses before, usually when she talked about historical conflicts or political strategies. She wondered if he had personal experience with such things, maybe through his mysterious business travels. That is a wise approach, Alex said finally. Sometimes cooperation achieves more than force. Exactly. Though I wonder if the Romans always had a choice. Some of their enemies were probably too dangerous to leave alone. Another long pause. Emma heard Alex's breathing change slightly, becoming more controlled. What do you mean by dangerous? He asked. Well, some civilizations were probably too aggressive, too bent on conquest themselves. The Romans might have felt they had to strike first or be destroyed. And do you think they were right to feel that way? Emma considered this. I think fear makes people do things they wouldn't normally do. But I also think most conflicts happen because people don't really understand each other. If they could just talk, you believe talking can solve any problem? Alex asked, and there was something strange in his voice, not mocking but almost desperate. Not any problem, Emma said, but more problems than people think. Most of the time when we're afraid of someone, it's because we don't know them. We imagine they're monsters, but they're usually just people with different experiences. Emma couldn't see the way Alex's hands clenched into fists on the table, or how his jaw tightened. She didn't know that her words were cutting deep into wounds he had carried for centuries. Have you ever wondered if there's life on other planets? Emma asked suddenly, changing the subject. Alex went completely still. Even his breathing seemed to stop. Why do you ask? He said carefully. I was reading about ancient civilizations that claimed contact with beings from the stars. Most historians dismiss it as mythology, but I wonder sometimes. The universe is so huge. We can't be the only ones out here. And if we were not alone, Alex said slowly, what would you hope to find? Emma smiled. I'd hope they'd be curious. About us, the way we're curious about them. Maybe they'd want to learn from each other, share knowledge. Wouldn't that be amazing? And if they were different? If they had different values, different ways of thinking? Then we'd have even more to learn from each other, Emma said without hesitation. Different doesn't mean bad. It just means different. Alex stood up suddenly. Emma heard his chair scrape back with more force than usual. I need to make a phone call, he said, his voice tight. I will return shortly. Emma listened to his footsteps as he left the cafe. They were faster than normal, almost urgent. She wondered what she had said to upset him. Outside, Alex pulled out a device that looked like a normal cell phone but was actually a quantum communicator connected to his ship. Commander Veltar's face appeared on the screen, his reptilian features twisted with impatience. Commander, Veltar said in their native language, the crew grows restless. When do we begin the assault? Not yet, Alex replied, also in Krillian. I need more time to study their defenses. You have been studying. One human female for 3 weeks, Veltar said with obvious disapproval. What more could you possibly learn? She is representative of their species, Alex said. Understanding her helps me understand them all. Or perhaps you are growing soft, old friend. The Galactic Council expects results. They will not wait. Forever, Alex closed the communicator and stood in the alley behind the cafe for several minutes. Emma's words echoed in his mind. Different doesn't mean bad. Cooperation achieves more than force. He had spent centuries believing that strength was the only currency that mattered in the universe. But this small, blind human woman was challenging everything he thought he knew when he returned to the cafe. Emma was still reading her book. She looked up as he sat down. Is everything okay? She asked. You seem upset. I am fine, Alex said, but his voice was strained. Tell me more about your research. Emma studied his face, though she couldn't see it. Something in his tone told her he was troubled. Alex, she said gently, I know we haven't known each other long, but you seem like you're carrying something heavy. If you ever want to talk about it, You would not understand, Alex said quickly. Try me, Emma said. I'm good at listening. Alex looked at this remarkable woman who had somehow seen through his defenses without even having sight. How could he explain that he was the destroyer of worlds, that his fleet waited in the darkness to conquer her planet? How could he tell her that he was beginning to question everything he had ever believed? I work in a field where I must make difficult decisions, he said finally. Decisions that affect many people. Sometimes I wonder if I am making the right choices. What kind of decisions? Strategic ones. About how to handle ... conflicts. Emma nodded. My professor always says that the hardest decisions are the ones where both choices seem right from different perspectives. But I think the fact that you're questioning yourself means you care about doing the right thing. That's what matters. Even if I've made terrible mistakes in the past? Everyone makes mistakes, Emma said. The question is what you do with the knowledge you have now. You can't change the past, but you can choose differently in the future. Alex felt something break inside his chest. This woman, this innocent human who should have been just another conquest, was offering him something he had never expected to find. Forgiveness. Hope. A chance to be something other than what he had always been. Emma, he said quietly, what? If the mistakes were bigger than you could imagine? What if they hurt people you cared about? Then you'd have to find a way to make it right, she said simply. And you'd have to forgive yourself because staying trapped in guilt doesn't help anyone. Alex reached across the table and took her hand. Emma felt that unusual warmth again, and something else. His hand was shaking slightly. Thank you, he said. Emma squeezed his hand gently. She had no idea that she was holding the hand of the most feared military commander in the galaxy, or that her simple words of comfort were changing the course of history. All she knew was that Alex needed a friend, and she was glad to be one. Above them, hidden in the darkness of space, the Krillian Armada waited for orders that would never come. The storm hit the city without warning. Emma had been sitting in Murphy's Café with Alex for 2 hours, longer than their usual meeting. The rain started as a light drizzle, but quickly became a downpour that drummed against the windows like angry fingers. I should head home, Emma said, listening to the thunder rolling overhead. This sounds like it's getting worse. Wait, Alex said. The lightning is very close. It would be safer to remain here until it passes. Emma tilted her head, listening carefully. She had learned to read storms by their sounds, and this one did seem dangerous. But something in Alex's voice caught her attention. He didn't sound worried about the storm. He sounded like he was stating a fact, the way a weather expert might. How do you know it's close? She asked. I can tell by the sound, Alex said, but his answer came too quickly. Emma frowned. The thunder had been distant, maybe 5 or 6 miles away. Most people couldn't judge storm distances that accurately. She decided to test something. That last lightning bolt sounded like it was right. Overhead, she said, even though it hadn't been. No, Alex said immediately. It was approximately 4.7 miles to the northeast. Emma's breath caught. No one spoke that precisely about lightning distances. No one could be that exact without special equipment. She turned toward Alex, her mind racing. Alex, she said slowly, how exactly did you measure that? There was a long silence. Emma could hear Alex's breathing, steady and controlled. Most people breathed faster during storms, especially when thunder was loud. But Alex's heartbeat, which she could faintly hear when she focused, hadn't changed at all. I have good hearing, he said finally. Good hearing doesn't give you GPS coordinates, Emma said. And your heart rate hasn't changed once since the storm started. Most people get at least a little nervous during thunderstorms. Another silence. Emma could feel the tension building between them like static electricity. You're very observant, Alex said. I have to be. When you can't see, you learn to notice other things. Like how someone's voice changes when they're not telling the truth, or how their breathing pattern is different from normal humans. Normal humans, Alex repeated quietly. Emma felt her pulse quicken. That's an interesting way to put it, as if you're comparing yourself to them. The rain continued to pound against the windows. Mrs. Murphy had gone home an hour ago, leaving them alone in the café. Emma could hear the old building settling around them, but Alex remained perfectly still in his chair. Emma, Alex said, and his voice was different now. More formal, more careful. What would you say if I told you that there are things about me that you might find difficult to understand? I'd say that everyone has secrets, Emma replied. But I'd also say that I've never met anyone quite like you. You move too quietly, you know things you shouldn't know, and you talk about humans like you're studying them from the outside. And what conclusion do you draw from these observations? Emma took a deep breath. I think you're not from around here. And I don't mean from another city or another country. Alex stood up from his chair. Emma heard him walk to the window, his footsteps making no sound on the wooden floor. You are correct, he said quietly. I am not from your world. Emma felt her heart skip a beat. Part of her had suspected this, but hearing it confirmed was still shocking. Where are you from? She asked. A place very far from here. A place where the rules are different, where strength matters more than kindness. Are there others like you? Alex was quiet for a long moment. Yes, many others. Are they here too? They are ... nearby. Emma stood up and walked toward the sound of his voice. She stopped a few feet away from him, close enough to feel the unusual warmth that seemed to radiate from his body. Alex, she said gently, are you here to hurt us? The question hung in the air between them like a blade. Alex turned away from the window to face her, though she couldn't see the pain in his alien features. That was the original plan, he said. His voice barely above a whisper. Emma felt cold despite the warmth of the café. The original plan? I am a military commander. My people sent me to study your world, to find its weaknesses. My fleet waits in the darkness beyond your moon for my signal to begin the conquest. Emma's legs felt weak. She reached out for the back of a chair to steady herself. But you're not going to give that signal, she said. It wasn't a question. I do not know, Alex said, and there was agony in his voice. 3 weeks ago, I would have given the order without hesitation. Your people would have been just another conquest, another world to add to our empire. What changed? You changed, Alex said simply. You and your ridiculous kindness. You and your belief that different doesn't mean bad. You made me remember what I used to be before I became what I am now. Emma walked toward him until she was close enough to touch his arm. What were you before? I was someone who believed in justice. Someone who thought strength should protect the innocent, not destroy them. But that was a long time ago, before I learned that the universe is cruel and only the strong survive. Maybe the universe isn't as cruel as you think, Emma said. Maybe. You just forgot how to see the good parts. Alex laughed, but it was a bitter sound. I have conquered 17 worlds, Emma. I have seen cities burn and civilizations fall. I have done things that would make you run from me in terror. Are you the same person who has been coming to this cafe every day for 3 weeks? Emma asked. The person who makes sure I don't spill my coffee? The person who listens to my stories about ancient history like they're the most important things in the world? That is different. You are different. No, Emma said firmly. I'm not different. I'm just human. And if you can care about one human, you can care about all of them. Alex felt something break inside him. You do not understand what you are. Asking, if I refuse to give the signal, my own people will see me as a traitor. They will come for me and they will destroy your world anyway. Then we'll figure out another way, Emma said. You're a military commander. You must be good at strategy. Help me understand the situation, and maybe we can find a solution that doesn't involve anyone getting hurt. Alex stared at this remarkable woman who had just learned that he was an alien conqueror and was offering to help him find a peaceful solution. Any rational person would have run or called for help, but Emma stood there, calm and determined, ready to face an impossible situation with nothing but hope and stubbornness. My second-in-command grows impatient, Alex said. He suspects that I have been compromised. If he decides to act without my orders ... How long do we have? Not long. Perhaps days, perhaps hours, Emma nodded. Then we need to move fast. Tell me about your people. Tell me about their weaknesses, their fears, what they want most. Emma, you cannot seriously think that you can negotiate with the Krillian Armada. I can't, Emma said. But maybe we can. Together, Alex looked at her for a long moment. Outside, the storm was beginning to pass, but inside the cafe, a different kind of storm was just beginning. He had revealed his true nature to the one person in the universe whose opinion mattered to him, and instead of running away, she was offering to stand beside him. "Very well," he said finally. "But you must understand, if we fail, your world will pay the price." "Then we won't fail," Emma said simply. Alex almost smiled. This blind human woman had no idea what she was up against, but her confidence was infectious. For the first time in centuries, he felt something he had almost forgotten how to feel. Hope. The next morning, Emma woke up to the sound of her phone buzzing. Alex's voice was tense when she answered. "We need to leave." "Now," he said, "pack only what you need most. I will explain when I pick you up." Emma's heart raced. "What happened?" "My commander sent scouts to find me. They tracked my location to the cafe. We have perhaps 30 minutes before they arrive." Emma threw clothes into a bag with shaking hands. Everything felt like a nightmare, but she forced herself to stay calm. Alex needed her to be strong right now. When Alex arrived at her apartment, Emma could hear the difference in his movements. He was in full military mode now, checking windows and listening for sounds she couldn't detect. This was the real Alex, the commander who had conquered 17 worlds. "Where are we going?" she asked as he helped her into a car that purred with unusual quiet. "I have safe houses prepared throughout the city," Alex said. "Places my people do not know about. We can hide there while we figure out our next move." They drove in silence through streets Emma knew by sound and smell, but today everything felt different. She was no longer just a graduate student going about her normal life. She was a human caught in the middle of an alien war. The safe house was a small apartment above an old bookstore. Alex had prepared it carefully, with supplies and communication equipment that looked nothing like human technology. "How long have you been planning this?" Emma asked as she felt around the unfamiliar space. "Since the day I met you," Alex said. "I told myself it was just a backup plan in case things went wrong. But I think part of me knew even then that meeting you would change everything." Emma sat down on what felt like a simple couch. "Tell me about your commander, the one who's looking for you." Alex was quiet for a moment. "Commander Veltar has been my second-in-command for 20 years. He is loyal, efficient, and completely without mercy. He believes that showing weakness to inferior species is the greatest crime a Krillian can commit. And he thinks caring about humans is weakness? Yes, in his mind I have been contaminated by human emotions. He will either try to bring me back to the ship for reprogramming, or he will kill me and take command himself." Emma felt a chill run down her spine. Reprogramming? A process that removes unwanted emotions and memories. "It would make me forget forget everything I have learned about humanity. I would become the weapon I was before. That's horrible." "It is efficient," Alex said, but there was sadness in his voice. "A commander without emotional attachments cannot be compromised." Emma stood up and walked toward the sound of his voice. "Alex, look at me. I mean, really look at me. Do you think what we have is a weakness?" "No," Alex said immediately. "It is the strongest thing I have ever felt." "Then that's what we fight for. Not just to save Earth, but to prove that connection makes us stronger, not weaker." Before Alex could respond, a soft beeping sound came from his equipment. He moved quickly to check it. "What is it?" Emma asked. "Motion sensors. 3 figures approaching the building. They move like Krillian soldiers." Emma's heart pounded. "Do we run?" "No, they will have surrounded the building by now. And there is nowhere to run that they cannot follow." Alex's communication device crackled to life. Commander Veltar's voice filled the room, speaking in their alien language. Alex responded in the same language, his voice hard and commanding. "What did he say?" Emma asked when the conversation ended. "He demands that I come out and face him. He says I have dishonored our people by allowing myself to be weakened by human influence." "What did you tell him?" "I told him that I have learned something he never could. That true strength comes from protecting what matters, not destroying it." Emma heard Alex moving around the room, gathering weapons that hummed with alien energy. "You're going out there?" she said. "I have to." If I do not face him, he will order the attack on Earth immediately. At least this way we have a chance.
We,
Emma said firmly. I'm coming with you. Absolutely not. Veltar will kill you without hesitation. Maybe seeing a human stand beside you will make him think twice about what he's doing. Alex was quiet for a long moment. Emma, you do not understand what you are asking. Veltar is not like me. He has never questioned his orders. Never doubted that might makes right. Then it's time someone showed him a different way. Emma walked to the door before Alex could stop her. I'm going out there with or without you. At least if we go together, you can protect me. Alex stared at this incredible woman who was willing to face down alien soldiers to stand by his side. You are either very brave or very foolish. Probably both, Emma said with a small smile. But that's what humans do. We stand up for what's right, even when we're scared. They walked out of the building together. Emma could hear 3 sets of footsteps surrounding them, moving with perfect military precision. Alex's hand was warm on her arm, guiding her carefully. Commander Zarthik, a cold voice said in accented English. You have fallen far, Commander Veltar, Alex replied. I have risen higher than I ever thought possible. Emma heard the alien commander move closer. His footsteps were different from Alex's, harder and more aggressive. This weak creature has poisoned your mind, Veltar said, but it is not too late. Kill her now and return to your duties. The fleet awaits your orders. No, Alex said simply. Then, you leave me no choice. Emma heard the sound of an alien weapon powering up. Wait, Emma said, stepping forward. Alex tried to hold her back, but she gently pulled free. Commander Veltar, may I ask you something? Humans do not speak to me, Veltar snarled. Why not? Are you afraid of what I might say? There was a dangerous silence. Emma could feel the tension in the air like electricity. I fear nothing from your kind. Then answer me this, Emma said, her voice steady despite her fear. In all your years of conquest, have you ever found anything worth keeping? Any world that made you think twice about destroying it? Conquest is not about preservation. It is about strength. But what's the point of being strong if you never use that strength to protect something beautiful? Emma heard Veltar's breathing change slightly. Beauty is weakness, is it? Or is beauty the reason strength exists in the first place? Emma took another step forward. Alex could destroy me with one hand. But instead, he chooses to protect me. That takes more courage than conquest ever could. You speak nonsense. Do I? Look at your commander. Really look at him. Is he weaker now than he was before? Or is he stronger because he has something worth fighting for? Alex watched in amazement as Emma slowly began to chip away at Veltar's certainty. The hardened warrior was actually listening to her, considering her words. Strength without purpose is just destruction, Emma continued. But strength with love behind it? That can change the universe, Veltar's weapon lowered slightly. You would have me believe that caring for inferiors makes us superior. I would have you believe that there are no inferiors, Emma said. Only different kinds of strength. And sometimes the greatest strength is choosing not to use the power you have. The alien commander stood in silence for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was uncertain for the first time in decades. And if I choose to spare your world, what then? Emma smiled. Then we all learn something new about what it means to be truly strong. Commander Veltar lowered his weapon completely. The silence stretched between them as he struggled with ideas that challenged everything he had believed for decades. You speak of strength through protection, Veltar said slowly. But what of the Galactic Council? They expect conquered worlds, not alliances. Emma felt Alex tense beside her. This was the moment that would decide everything. The Council values results, Alex said carefully. They want resources, strategic positions, and loyal forces. Perhaps there are ways to give them what they want without destroying what makes humanity valuable. You suggest we lie to the Council? Veltar asked. I suggest we show them a better way, Emma said. What if Earth becomes your strongest ally instead of your newest conquest? What if humans join your empire willingly? Veltar made a sound that might have been laughter. Humans would never willingly serve the Krillian Empire. Not serve, Emma said. Partner, work together as equals. Impossible. Humans are too weak, too primitive. Are they? Alex asked. In 3 weeks, this one human woman has done something that 20 years of military campaigns could not do. She made me question the very foundation of our empire. If that is weakness, then perhaps we have been measuring strength incorrectly. Veltar walked in a slow circle around them. Emma could hear his boots on the pavement, deliberate and thoughtful. Even if I agreed to this madness, Veltar said, how would we convince the council that humans are worth preserving? By showing them what humans can do when they are not afraid, Emma said. Let me talk to human leaders. Let them see what your empire offers in exchange for cooperation. But do it through negotiation, not conquest? The council has never negotiated with a primitive species. Then maybe it's time they learned something new, Alex said. The galaxy is changing, Veltar. Old methods may not work forever. Emma stepped forward again. Commander Veltar, what did you hope to gain from conquering Earth? Resources, strategic position, labor force. And what if humans offered you all of that freely, along with something you never expected? Which is? Innovation, creativity, different ways of thinking about problems. Emma's voice grew stronger. Humans excel at finding new solutions when they are desperate or inspired. Imagine what they could create if they were partners instead of slaves. Veltar was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was different, less certain but more thoughtful. You believe your species would agree to join our empire peacefully? I believe my species would do anything to protect their families and their world, Emma said. Give them hope instead of fear, and they will surprise you. Alex activated his communication device. Commander, I need to show you something. The device projected a holographic display that Emma could not see, but could hear humming softly. Alex began speaking in their alien language, pointing to different parts of the projection. What is he showing you? Emma asked Veltar. Human achievements, Veltar said, and there was wonder in his voice. Art, music, literature, scientific discoveries. Things we have never seen from conquered worlds. Because conquered people do not create, Emma said. They only survive, but free people build amazing things. Alex switched the display to show human space achievements, medical breakthroughs, and technological innovations. Even with their limited resources, humans had accomplished remarkable things. Impressive for a primitive species, Veltar admitted reluctantly. We're not primitive, Emma said gently. We're just different. And that difference could make your empire stronger than it has ever been. Veltar made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. Very well, he said. We will attempt this, negotiation. But if it fails, if your people prove treacherous or worthless, we will complete the original mission. Emma felt relief flood through her, but she kept her voice steady. How do we begin? Carefully, Alex said. We must contact human leaders in a way that does not cause panic. Perhaps through scientific communities first, then government officials. I can help with that, Emma said. My university has connections with researchers around the world. We could start with a small group of scientists and historians, people who have already wondered about life beyond Earth. Over the next few days, the most unusual diplomatic mission in human history began. Alex used his advanced technology to monitor human communications and identify leaders who might be open to contact with alien life. Emma worked with her professors to arrange a meeting with a select group of academics and government officials. The first contact meeting took place in a secure facility that Alex had prepared. Emma sat beside him as proof that humans and Krillians could work together peacefully. When the human delegates saw a blind graduate student calmly discussing intergalactic politics with alien commanders, their fears began to transform into curiosity. Dr. Patricia Williams, a physicist from Emma's university, was the first to speak. What exactly are you offering humanity? She asked Alex. Knowledge, Alex replied. Technology that could solve your energy problems, cure diseases, and allow you to explore the galaxy. In exchange, we offer Earth membership in the Galactic Council as an equal partner. And if we refuse? Alex looked at Emma before answering. Then we leave your world in peace and report to the Council that humanity is not ready for galactic society. It was not entirely true, but it was the best compromise Alex could offer. Emma squeezed his hand under the table, grateful for his efforts to protect her world. The negotiations took weeks. There were arguments, misunderstandings, and moments when everything almost fell apart. But slowly, carefully, a new kind of alliance began to form. Humans offered their creativity, their diverse perspectives, and their remarkable ability to adapt. The Krillians offered technology, protection, and access to the vast network of galactic civilization. 3 months later, Emma and Alex sat in their old booth at Murphy's Café. But everything had changed. Emma now studied alien civilizations alongside human history, learning about cultures that spanned the galaxy. Alex split his time between Earth and the Krillian fleet, helping both species understand each other. "Do you ever regret it?" Emma asked, stirring her coffee. "Giving up your empire for this crazy experiment?" "I did not give up an empire," Alex said. "I helped create a better one." Outside the cafe window, construction had begun on the first human embassy to the Galactic Council. Children pressed their faces against the glass, watching alien workers use impossible technology to build impossible things. Emma smiled as she listened to their excited voices. "I think this is going to work." "It already is working," Alex said. "The Council is amazed by human innovations. 3 human ideas have already been adopted across the galaxy." "Which ones?" "Coffee shops," Alex said with something that sounded like laughter. Apparently, no other species thought to create gathering places specifically for conversation and friendship. Emma laughed. "Leave it to humans to accidentally revolutionize galactic social life." The second innovation was even more significant, the concept of choosing cooperation over conquest. Several other species have requested to join the Council as partners rather than subjects. And the third, Alex was quiet for a moment. The idea that love can be stronger than fear, it is spreading. Emma reached across the table and took his hand. Good, the galaxy could use more love and less fear. As they sat together in the cafe. Where it all began, neither Emma nor Alex could have imagined how far their simple friendship would reach. Across the galaxy, species that had been enemies for centuries were beginning to talk instead of fight. The Krillian Empire was becoming something it had never been before. A force for protection rather than conquest, and it all started with a blind human woman who believed that different didn't mean bad, and an alien warrior who learned that true strength came from choosing to protect what you love. The future stretched before them, uncertain but full of hope. And in Murphy's Café, over coffee and conversation, 2 friends continued to change the universe one day at a time.